And you're wearing matching shirts, I'm just now seeing.
Yeah, just said that.
We got these in high school when we were watching Golden Lagoon about once a week, sometimes more.
Really?
Good Lord. Well, I guess
so. You've seen you've seen this particular episode a lot.
It's disgusting.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. This is your bi-weekly podcast that delivers an episode-by-episode breakdown of the original G1 series. This is our episode number 146, and we're going to be covering episode number 41.
I think it's 147.
Shit, did I fuck it up again?
Doesn't matter.
The Golden Lagoon. I'm your host, Aaron. Look at me. Look at me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
In a different role, trying out a brand new part. Don't you worry, baby. I know I'll never have a change of heart. No. Oh.
What is
It's truly outrageous. Truly outrageous.
I get
fantasy.
I get it now.
I get it now.
Being anyone I want to be, and on top of it all, you're here with me. Oh, you're here with me. A fantasy, yeah. A truly outrageous. Contagious. And on top of it all, I have my two favorite hosts here with me.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
I'm Caleb.
This is an interesting one. You went with Jem?
Yeah, you went with Jim.
Yeah, I thought it fitting. We have this group of strong, powerful protagonist females that live their normal everyday lives, but then they have these superhero-esque rock star personas that are... I thought this would be a less awkward transition, but...
Nope.
What I would really like to do at this point is also welcome to the show two Queens of Cosplay, as well as prolific, multi-talented, multifaceted, fine artists in their own right. If we have a drum roll music sound effect, Ryan, please feel free to enter that in post. The first is an engineer, not the train kind, you buffoons, but rather a designer, an analyzer, a builder of structures, systems, and gadgets, but applies that schooling to 3D modeling and the making of amazing jewelry and props. She's a born conqueror with the proven ability to win G.I. Joe profile contests while not giving a fuck about G.I. Joe. She's an extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceiving person and uses those attributes to deliver some of the best snark in the Twitter game. Please welcome to the Autopod Decepticast, Hayley.
Hey.
That was the best, that was a great intro. Thank you.
Next up, we've got a costume and prop designer whose talents I hold in the absolute highest esteem. I am being sincere. That's not just my goofy persona here. A serial organizer, planner, and producer who yet still can't get her YouTube presence together. What the fuck? A frolicsome photographer of fluffy felines. Please welcome the Stitch-based witch herself. That's her language, not mine. Bono.
Yay.
Hi. Yeah, thank you. No, I'm. Thank you for not doxing my Myers-Briggs personality like you did for Hayley.
Listen, she puts it out there
Constantly.
I cannot go 3 minutes without texting someone like, "Oh, I found this really funny Myers-Briggs meme."
She's an extrovert. Could you tell?
I believe that I'm an EntJ, and I can't even really remember what that means.
I don't remember what mine is. I know I. I'm gonna the
There's
biggest
an I
I
in there
there is.
somewhere?
It's all
Right.
somehow. It's just I.
Yeah, it came up quadruple I. I don't.
the most selfish Myers-Briggs personality.
Just shuddered in a cabin.
I know that I speak for us all here. We're super happy to finally get to virtually meet you. Why don't you use your own words to tell us who the hell you are and how Transformers are connected to your life? And I'll let you guys decide who goes first in this.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Hayley. So, hi, I'm Bono. I'm a cosplayer and seamstress. I've been running my own business for more than a decade, sewing and selling cosplays, which is fun. And how that all ties into Transformers is that Transformers is my forever fandom. And whenever something fun is not coming out, I circle back around to Transformers because it's kind of an endless font of inspiration. There's usually something new coming out, whether or not I particularly like it, it's there. And so there's always more to draw from that wellspring. And just as kind of a happenstance, I don't know if Transformers caused it or if it's just who I am as a person, but I really like doing kind of techno-inspired designs. I have a background in fashion, and my senior fashion project was based on the video game Halo because I wanted to turn armor into clothes. So that worked really well for Transformers too, turning armor into clothes. And I like picking up tiny design line details and carrying them through that way. So Transformers is obviously very visually appealing. It's bright colors, it's fun lines, and then it's fun that you can physically get the toy and see it and look at it and transform that into something literally by looking at it.
And I would assume a lot of goofy character attributes that could be subtly
just delightfully brought in. Yeah.
Right.
And like some even just like fan quirks that you just kind of accept are canon, and then you find out that you've just heard it from too many people for too many years and it's
Right.
not, but toss those into.
It's fake news that's become real news.
It's real news now.
That's right.
I love it.
Haley, what's your story?
My story is that I got placed in gym class with that weirdo, and she wouldn't stop talking about Transformers. So I just kind of was like, well, I guess I'm going to get into this now. And then I used to go over to her house after school, and we would just watch. And it started with the 80s cartoon. We would watch that, and then we watched like Transformers animated and like all this other stuff. But our favorite episode was always the Golden Lagoon. That and the movie were the ones that we watched mostly, and then we would just kind of fill in the rest whenever, we didn't want to watch it twice in one day.
How old were you when you guys met?
Freshman in high school?
Freshman, yeah.
The thing that's kind of interesting to me, okay, you guys aren't Zoomers, but you're probably like on the cusp of millennial Zoomers, right? Like
We are the last year of millennial, technically, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
And Andy's not a millennial.
Most millennials would probably say that Transformers Prime or something like that would be their introduction to the franchise. How the hell is G1 your go-to source material?
Your gateway drug?
I have an older cousin who I am the youngest of all my cousins, and my mother is one of 5. So there were a lot of older cousins who got saddled with babysitting me, watched a lot of Gem.
Latchkey shit. Okay.
When it was Chris's turn, we watched a lot of G1. So that's the answer there. Is that was just kind of, it was what he was into. So to impress the older cousins, it was what I was into. And then also my older brother Tony was plugged in with Transformers Armada, because I think that was on, I don't know, maybe Cartoon Network, but it was geared more towards his age group because he's a few years older than me. And so Transformers Armada was never really my speed because it's, I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea.
Right.
But
aesthetically, it's closer to G1 than say Prime or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but it's the same characters. So I think literally just like the repetition of like, it's a constant. They're just always there.
Just to set this up for the listener, you aren't just 2 random cosplayers we drew out of a hat and threw together on a podcast. You're bona fide friends. So
I've never met this woman before in my life.
So my 2-part question is, how did you get to be friends, and how can I be your friend and ditch the dead weight to the left and right of me?
Okay, well, step 1, you had a perfect opportunity during your intro when you said my 2 favorite hosts. You could have just dropped them out and then introed us.
Yeah.
Just saying. No, Haley and I, we met freshman year of high school. We were in the same gym class. She stole my first name and only introduced me to anyone as Bono, and that's why everyone knows me as Bono.
Hang on. Okay, back up. That needs a little bit more dissection.
Okay, so this story is going to make me sound bad, so I'll tell it. So we met in gym class, and at first I just thought she was like one of those like boring girly girls, whatever. And then after school, she showed up at comic book club. And this was like the first week of school. I was like, oh, this girl's actually cool. But in our gym class, you had to wear your gym uniform, and your gym uniform said your last name on it. So, and she is extremely artsy. So she wrote Bono in like the coolest font on hers. So I remembered her last name was Bono, but could not remember her first name. So I pretended like it was a nickname and it was just like, oh yeah, Bono. And it got to the point where like we had been friends for months. I had been over to her house a bunch. I still could not remember what her first name was. So yeah. And then I ended up introducing her to like most of the people from high school who we're still friends with now. So the name Bono kind of stuck.
Wow.
It's a cool story.
At some point, I love the idea of it's just too embarrassing. Hey, I know we're really good friends. What is your name?
I just didn't know. It's great.
Well, it would be funny because like her mom would be picking her up from school and be like, "Hi, Grace," and I'd be like, "Grace, that doesn't suit her at all." Wait, what was that name again? And like I just would forget it immediately.
This is a big jump from high school to more contemporary times, but talk about cosplay in general. You guys started out as high school kids, loving this show.
Gym buddies.
Well, and Hayley wasn't into Bono at first because she thought she was basic, but Bono still loves Starbucks quite a bit. So I don't know. There's still some basic qualities that are there.
Starbucks is good. Starbucks is
But
good.
I'm just curious how that all transitioned into the performance art of cosplay, and what was your exposure to it? How did all of that transition to that world and become a creative outlet?
So you're trying to bring this forward, and it's funny because you're actually bringing it backwards. Because I started cosplaying when I was in 5th grade. I don't know why my parents let me. I was an infant. I should not have been at conventions.
Feels mildly inappropriate, but I'm not a judge.
Also, though, it gave you a career.
Yeah, so like, you know what, fair.
It paid
but
off.
my parents were both in the arts, so they came too because they thought it was fascinating. They were like, these people are dressed up. It's so cool. And we used to go once a year, and it was like a big deal. Like, it is the convention. We are going to go to a convention. And no, we'd look all year to make one costume and then wear it, and that was it. And then as I got older, I started and was online more and more. I was like, people go to these things like every weekend. How do I do that?
Right.
And so in high school, it really just became, I joined comic book club to find other people who, because I heard that comic book club was anime club, but less crowded. Is the truth there? Is it was just as much comics as it was anime, and that it was a lot less people. I don't know. I don't really love the people, so went to comic book club. We just really like started doing it. It was fun, and then it's just kind of the natural evolution of cosplay. I think as the demographic that really kind of settled into it has grown up, it's become less of a pastime and more of a profession.
Well, it feels like a culture, like a lifestyle.
And I mean, there are people who, I mean, like Hayley, who do it in addition to a full-time career, but then there are a lot of people like me who it is their full-time career. And I mean, there's kind of like two categories there too, where there's professional cosplayers who the professional side is that they dress up and they put out photo sets and they do guest appearances. And then there's the professional side of it for me, which is I make costumes, sometimes for those professional cosplayers, sometimes for voice actors, but that my profession is locked in with selling it, and that the dressing up for me personally is still the hobby, because I don't need that kind of pressure in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Obviously, I'm on the outside looking in. I've never been a cosplayer other than on Halloween, but I always assumed, I guess, that all cosplayers made their costumes. But are a lot of cosplayers kind of actors, actresses that want to be that character and then commission the costume part of it? How does that work?
I would say it's pretty evenly split. And there's even a lot of times, like I've commissioned costumes and I have 10 years of sewing experience, but I just don't want to make a particular thing, or it's a fiddly type of sewing that's not really my wheelhouse. I hate sewing gloves. So a lot of times I outsource gloves because they're tiny seams and I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And so it's just kind of like, if someone's really good at something, it's what they've kind of settled into. It's sometimes nice to reach out to someone and commission that, but there's a lot of cosplayers who just really love a character, can't sew it worth a damn, so they can find it. Nowadays there's a lot of actually really fabulous wholesale costumes, which, pricing issues aside that speak of some concerning labor practices, you can get gorgeous costumes for very little money, and that's where a lot of cosplayers get started, is these wholesale from overseas costumes that are frankly beautiful now.
How are those scaled up, those wholesale? I mean, you talked about questionable labor practices, but we're talking about, I mean, the work that you do and the work that I've seen you to put out is just amazing, immaculate, detailed. So we're talking about like that level, or maybe is it slightly less, but still amazing?
It's definitely less. And a lot of times where the quality falls back there is fabric choice. Like the
Okay.
pattern itself might be beautiful, but it's like a very cheap polyester, and so it's going to be nasty. It's not going to breathe. Whereas like I will always pick the nicest stuff, but honestly, especially with some of the Korean dramas, the costumes that are coming out of overseas for those that you can buy wholesale, every time I see them, I'm blown away because there's layers upon layers and details and little metal pieces. And I'm like, no one's making money selling these, but they're doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there is something to say where, if you have a group and you can buy these big industrial strength machines and you just have to make the same costume 10 times, that's going to cost a lot less money than making 10 different costumes
Yeah.
and only being
And
one.
that is the other thing is
What are
wholesale
the-
costumes are rarely made to fit. What blows my mind is I get an average of 50 to 100 people emailing me a week requesting a costume from me, and
Wow.
obviously that's way more business than I will
Whoa.
ever be able to take on personally, and that's
Sure.
thrilling.
Yeah.
That's great, but the amount of the cosplay bubble has just expanded so crazily. And I mean, even looking at cons, what they were 15 years ago when I started doing this versus what they are now, and how much bigger they are, and the production quality of the conventions themselves,
Yeah.
is crazy. And actually, we were trying to go to TFCon to loop this background to Transformers for years.
Thanks for
But
taking
every
control of the show.
Every time we would remember that we wanted to go to TFCon, it was not in Chicago because it rotated.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd be like, okay, we'll go next year. And then it would be like, it'd be in LA. And we'd be like, okay, well, next time it comes back to Chicago. And then we'd forget to look. And then it happened for years. And when we finally got there, we were actually like delighted that it was a core group of people who cared about one thing, and that it wasn't one of these mega conventions where it is kind of all about the pageantry of it,
Mm-hmm.
where it was just so genuine, and like people were there to talk and have a good time, and it wasn't like desperately trying to navigate around everyone's photo shoots and people being a diva because someone's standing in front of a door they want to take a picture in front of. It was like kind of delightful.
Well,
Yeah.
Transformers is still such a small-ish fandom that it actually can be about Transformers and not about the social scene or whatever other
Exactly. That
extraneous
was
factors
delightful.
are tied to it.
Bono, did you make the Shockwave cosplay for Hayley?
I did.
I
Yeah,
love that
I'm
one.
horrible at sewing. If you want to see the difference, if you can find my Blaster cosplay and compare it to the Shockwave, that's what it looks like when you let me sew my own cosplay versus when I actually get Bono to do it.
I will say though, Hayley, though, I really enjoy watching where your strengths are with costuming is the 3D printing that you've done, and some of the more I don't know what you call it, but the
Jewelry,
yes,
props,
the
that
non
kind of thing.
the non textile aspects of costuming,
And that's why I made Hayley that costume. Is I made it
Yeah.
in exchange for her helping me do some of the 3D modeling stuff that is just not how my brain works.
right. And she is excelling at that, whereas this guy
Oh
over
yeah, I
here-
recently offloaded
not
my
so
3D printer. I did buy a 3D printer. To be fair, it was like the bottom barrel version, and I was warned before I got it that it's not plug and play, and you're going to have to deal with this. But it was also from someone who has an engineering background who made it didn't seem way easier than it was.
Who knew CAD?
Yeah, and so I'm also a very impatient person who, if something I'm not immediately good at it, I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, get it out of here.
But Ryan, I feel like Ryan could be. I mean, I don't know how much you sew or if at all.
I can sew. I sewed a lot of. My birthday's on Halloween, so I always I've done a lot of Halloween.
But I feel
costumes.
like there could be a place for you in the cosplay community because Ryan is an amazing sculptor. He'll make costumes and he's really good at kind of
yeah, there you go.
like gluing things together that like just random found objects, but making a thing out of it that is amazing. And if you were to creep his Facebook page, you'd see a lot of the. Okay, well, yeah, here.
Yeah, that's
here-
my. I
he
made
just
a.
He just made this Ghostbusters proton pack
Yeah.
here. And it's legit. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is. And a lot of it is just figuring out how to take found objects, and you're not necessarily sculpting everything from scratch, but it's about how you assemble it, paint it, put it together.
It's
really
true.
cool.
I am great.
There was no
And humble too.
so humble.
That's the problem. Is I am completely disorganized though. So like I do want I've always had this ambition to like yes I do want to do an Etsy store like sell Halloween props or something like that. But I'm so like. It's also a problem of like instantly once I'm doing it for money, I'm like not interested anymore.
Yeah.
to take the spotlight off Ryan.
Oh,
So I think we've established you guys are old millennials. Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. You're young millennials. You would be young millennials or old Zoomers. And
Old Zoomers.
but-
old Zoomers.
we talked a little bit about anime, and when you talk about cosplay and the cosplay community, that Venn diagram is basically a circle. I don't know really anything about anime other than I think I missed our age bracket by like 5 or 10
Yeah, a
years.
little bit.
What,
or
anime?
so. But
I
yeah,
mean,
but we've
because
got like
there's-
Akira and Transformers
We've got,
the
like-
movie or Cowboy Bebop.
Well,
Like
we've-
there's some basic staples.
We've
like
got like Ghost in the Shell. We've got like
But I just mean from a generational pop culture standpoint, anime isn't really ingrained in our souls in the way it is younger people.
It's definitely blown up on a level that we didn't experience. But I think a lot
yeah.
of
My
that,
girlfriend is super into it, and she's
Yeah.
about 10 years younger
but-
than me, and so it hit her age bracket.
Well,
Our
now,
ex-
look who's humble bragging now.
being that we're in Missouri, being that we were in Missouri, we also were limited to what we could get
That's-
our hands on
that's
from
true.
VHS. But now you can get whatever you
So
want.
that was a long lead in to ask the question, what are your favorite nerd properties to cosplay as?
Oh my god.
Or
okay, so-
favorite properties to create costumes and props for.
I have a
fans of the property.
15-point question.
No, that was a long lead into a 2-point question.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy for me. It's Transformers and Fire Emblem. For very
What is
different
Fire
reasons,
Emblem?
but Fire Emblem is a video game. It's anime chess
Okay.
with characters and
Okay.
also a dating simulator some of the time. They're delightful costumes. They're just like very detailed. They also make exactly zero sense when you try and interpret them into 3D, which is a fun challenge.
Mhm.
They are 2D drawings, and so really when you try and unpack some of the things they do or the lack of closures and lack of seam lines, it's just fun. And Transformers is like the exact opposite reason, where I just like figuring out how things should fit together in ways they're not meant to, and so making something that shouldn't be closed clothes but like still recognizable as a character is
Right.
very fun for me.
Yeah, I unfortunately have the same two favorites for kind of similar reasons. Fire Emblem's just fun because there's a million characters, and since there's like a lot of like, they'll just throw out like, oh, this is what they would all look like in swimsuits. This is what they would all look like in maid outfits, and just random stuff like that. You can end up with some like really weird groups of people all dressed technically as the same video game. So I think that's really fun. And then I really like Transformers just because I do think it's fun to like take something that's not a dress and try to turn it into a dress. And also I am just going to brag about my best friend again, but I really like Bono's original designs. And that was one thing I really missed after she graduated college, is she focused more on making cosplays that were, exactly like the video game and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I miss seeing your original work. So it's always fun because, whenever we get to cosplay Transformers together, she gets to go and do her thing in her costumes that
What I
are
want.
she gets to express herself in
Yeah.
a way.
yeah.
But actually, it's funny, Haley, you talking about how many Fire Emblem characters there are. It really is kind of similar to like the G1 approach of like, well, just toss another character in. Like, do we have one that does spins a wheel, disappears, and then you get another, you get Mirage. And so like Fire Emblem's kind of the same thing, where there's just such a large ensemble cast that there's just like every character has at least a fun trait. And so you can kind of be like, well, I like this one because of this one specific reason.
I did have to creep a little bit on the social medias to get some questions together, and I just felt a lot of it was anime influence.
Well, it's funny because like the running joke is that like I do just Fire Emblem commissions just because it's like kind of I started doing them, and then there's so many characters that like other people who wanted them started reaching out for those. And I mean, I do a lot of anime stuff too, but a lot of the newer, this ties back to that wholesale thing where like a lot of the newer anime, which I feel like anime is something that like, it's very like you were saying, generational. And so like the stuff I really love, Sailor Moon and stuff, was what was on when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like the stuff I'm still really passionate about. But since that was on so long ago, there's really great wholesale costumes for those.
Right.
And then since the things that are like coming out are hot topics, those are what people jump onto to like make the mass produced costumes. And so a lot of times when people are coming to me, they're looking for like one really niche costume of a character that isn't a huge ensemble cast, but is an incredibly detailed costume. So there isn't really a great option except to have it custom made to fit you, which is great for me.
Right.
But when I spend so much time working on the costumes, you just become attached to the media too.
Sure, that makes sense because you have to research, you have to get into it.
Yeah, you just live in it then.
And I picture a lot of people that also just want to be set apart. They don't want to buy the off the rack. It's like you go to a party and somebody's wearing the same outfit.
Happens to be all the time.
People are always wearing suits from 1967.
Now you're on the trolley.
What is it about cosplay culture within the Transformers dynamic that is different, interesting, unique, maybe even negative or positive versus other cosplay cultures?
People don't wear fake eyelashes in Transformers.
That's true.
It's the weirdest thing. Okay, you go to an anime convention, everyone has on falsies. You go to a Transformers convention, no one has eyes. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. That was actually the funniest thing about going to TFCon is we were used to like KatsuCon, you put on 17 layers of foundation so nobody knows that you have pores. You contour your cheekbones almost to the grave. You put in fake like lenses to make your eyes a different color and huge, and then like false lashes out to here like you're a drag queen. And we did that, and it was hilarious because people were like, "Oh my god, your makeup! How did you do that?" And I was like, "This is just what people do.
This is every day."
Like, oh.
Wasn't there one where you guys planned like 5 or 6 costume changes at the con?
Yeah.
We do that.
Was that Katsu?
We did. We had a bar specific Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, and Jazz group, like specifically to leave the convention and go to bars. We had additional costumes.
That's awesome. That's
what you got to do. So, but yeah, it's also something actually really nice that I've discovered because Hayley and I were really into Transformers costuming. We have a really embarrassing Soundwave and Blaster costume from high school. It's bad. Like really bad. We were supposed to do them for the TFCon Chicago that got canceled. But one day maybe.
Yeah, I thought we all would actually get to meet at that one maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
But something that's really nice is that I've noticed the community has really grown because when we were starting then, people were kind of elitist about if you were not going to have a big bot rig and if you weren't going to do the full, make armor, be a robot, be 8 feet tall.
Right.
People were kind of condescending about that. And like human formers as a concept was kind of like, well, you can't make real armor. So I guess you're going to do that. And then coming back to it, like almost a decade later and going to TFCon, people were really delightful about it. People make merch of human former stuff. Like
I feel like it's almost actually the dominant form of cosplay at a TFCon.
I think so.
It makes sense. A rig is hard to transport, like unless you live right there. What are you going to do with that?
Right.
Yeah, I can't even imagine putting it in my car to get to the convention.
Right.
And then having to like put it all on in a parking lot.
And the people that do, more power to them. They are so powerful.
Oh, yeah. I am jealous of them. But
yeah, I think it's just been really, really cool to watch that kind of grow and the community as a whole. I mean, Transformers, I've never found to be particularly gatekeepy about anything. I know
you
I've
must
heard...
not visit the online communities I've seen.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I was gonna say I've heard stories, but I do also the second someone starts acting suspicious, I'm like, oh, you're blocked.
Yeah.
Like, get out of my house. Because I'm a firm believer in making your experience what you want it to be. I mean, we've had people say weird stuff to us at conventions, but it's usually like, for all that it's weird, it's at least flattering.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think
the iconic. I didn't know hot girls like Transformers.
Oh, good.
You're like, good talk. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
I'm really new to fandom. I only do this because I like hanging out with these guys.
Yeah, he's our everyman. The
We've
guy who
been-
knows
we've
nothing.
been at this for like 4 years. I don't think you can say that anymore.
Have we done it that? Has it been that long?
It's been since 2017.
Oh my god!
New to fandom.
So
baby.
I'm not new to fandom anymore. But what
Local man discovers he is in fact deeply ingrained in the fandom.
my point is that I have a very positive impression of the fandom, and even bringing my my wife and kids to a con at DC, they thought it was a very positive experience, and they could honestly take or leave the details of that universe of that fandom, and even at just like kind of at a surface level,
appreciate the gathering.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
and their first impressions of everything were really nice, and so yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's true. TFCon's the only con I've ever been to, and I've only been to 2 of them. And it was like the first one I went to, I was like, "This is so much fun." Because I'm not really a people person. I'm very,
He says that. He's full of shit.
When he gets in his
Look at
element,
him.
he's fine.
I feel like he's not a people person the same way I'm not a people person, and I understand this.
Yeah, it was, but it was so much fun, and it was like just everybody being there for the same reason to enjoy this, even if it was whatever iteration that you like about that. And was it DC where we got to meet the More Than Meets the Pod?
Yes, that's
More Than-
correct.
So that was cool because
Celebrities.
like just meeting people that and getting into us doing this podcast. I mean, prior to that, I really wasn't on social media, at least Twitter, at all, and like just getting to talk to people that like what we do and then getting to meet them in person is a lot of fun, which is why I've always wanted to meet you two and like in IRL. But
Yeah, one day.
Well, and plus, just because, like, let's do the kiss ass thing.
Please,
But
go
well,
on.
it's like this.
Go on.
It's a great combination of like super talented, do things that I can't do that are
It's true.
inspirational. Like I'm a creative person, even though I don't sew or sculpt or AutoCAD. I take inspiration from all creative outlets to people that are doing really cool shit, but then are also fucking hilarious on social media. All right, kiss ass session ended.
So
Yes, it will. We love you guys too. APOD Decast has fueled a lot of like full 24-hour frantic costume binges. Like
fun.
just Haley gets all the credit for finding you guys. She sent it to me. She was like, they are doing a minute by minute breakdown of the G1 movie. Why are you not listening to this? And I'm like, I'm running.
I think about how cringe. I listen to every episode before it goes out, and I try to edit out all my cringe moments.
it's called a vanity edit.
That Ryan doesn't edit, and I think about those Transformers the movie episodes where I wasn't doing that yet, where I wasn't completely self-conscious yet, and I would hate to listen to those
Please
episds
don't.
now.
We
Yeah,
cannot
no
George
one-
Lucas this.
no one- yeah.
That's it. We're going back.
We
We're
don't-
going back,
we don't
baby.
care. No one. Only
You
you.
have to keep them in. They're good.
Yeah.
Only you care about that.
Yeah, I guess-
I know.
Your
Okay,
own
all right.
worst
We
enemy.
don't have to make this about me. Do you all know the history? Is there a recorded history of human formers? How did it become a thing?
I don't know, but I imagine it stems from the like actual.
I
I'm
know
gonna
there's a
absolutely
season
talk out
3
my-
episode where they become human,
Yeah,
but
I'm
they're
gonna
all
talk
wearing
out
like
my ass here.
overalls and they're just sort of like colored like they would be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it probably comes from like the hollow form concept where like sometimes there are humans driving the cars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're like holograms. And so I think people started cosplaying like, well, what if the hologram looked like their character?
Mhm.
And then I
Yeah,
think it
okay,
kind of
that makes sense.
from there.
The whole
Yeah.
Cyclonus is really an iPad, or not Cyclonus. Who was it? Cyclonus is like an old Victorian lady,
Yeah.
and
Gonna get the baby. You're
who's
thinking
the
of
who's the
Whirl.
one I got? Whirl.
You're thinking
Whirl
of
is an eye patched, angry.
Whirl Hatsune
preteen.
Miku.
Okay.
Very clear on this.
I at least feel like with human formers, at least from what I saw, it didn't start, at least to me, as a cosplay thing. I saw it more on like deviant art back in the day,
Yeah.
Oh,
where
okay.
people wanted to, and a
I
lot
want
of
to
them
draw
were-
Transformers, but robots are hard.
yeah, a lot of people couldn't draw the robots, and then also it was a lot of, I feel like, teenage girls being like, okay, but what if Sideswipe was a cute boy? This is what he would look like if he was a cute boy.
Speaker in a boy band.
Yeah, like, and it was very much like that. And of course, I was a small high schooler at the time, and I was like, yeah, he is a cute boy.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just, I don't know, it's and I think it is just, it's probably also that like if you make if you make an article of clothing to show that you like love a character, you're gonna make it like look like the character, and so then it's pretty easy to just push that into like, well, now it's a whole outfit.
Right.
This is a complete, I'm sorry, non sequitur. It is costume related, but like I just want to say before I forget it. I remember I think I DM'd you, Bono, like one afternoon. Maybe I'd been drinking, but I was watching Jaws. And the mayor's outfit in Jaws is a powder blue
Yes.
sport jacket with
Yes.
little anchors all over it. And I was like,
Yes.
how much would this cost me? And she was like, maybe just get like iron-on decals. You're kind of overthinking this.
Yeah, suits are one of those things that every time someone's like, can I commission you for a suit, I'm like, do you know how much like bespoke clothes
Yeah.
cost? I buy one.
That's like my wife said, because I have a fine arts background. I reached out to one of my professors who does watercolors, and she goes, I want something for like over here on this wall. Can you reach out to him? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll reach out to him.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, he has something, and it's $2,500. And she's like, why is it $2,500?
Because he has to make a
because
living.
he has to put his work into making
Yeah.
it. You know, some people have a hard time wrapping their head around that because they're so used to wholesale mass produced.
To
Yeah.
fast fashion.
They're used to buying low quality stuff.
I've had
Yeah.
I've always had a problem with trying. I've always undercut myself with like, how much would it be for this commission or whatever, and I'm like, because I'm like,
Be ready to
I
pay
don't
a
know
lot.
why, but like now I've stopped doing that, where I'm like, because also then I'm doing it and I'm like, why am I doing this
You're doing
for
a
$40?
disservice to the industry, Ryan.
Well,
Yeah,
to the
man.
I don't care about the industry. I care about my
Oh,
time.
well.
But I'm just like, I'm like, I hate this. I'm doing this for $40. It's taking me 10 hours to do this. So
Yeah.
now what I've
Yeah.
started doing is like, I go with what I think it's worth, and then I add like 20% because I'm like, if I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it.
And
It
knowing-
sounds like
and
you
knowing
should
you-
add 100%.
And knowing you, your 20% is probably way below what you should.
It
Yeah,
is.
it
It
is.
still is. But I'm like, well,
You're too humble.
Here are some obligatory Transformers questions. First Transformers toy.
I had my first Transformers toy was actually that, like, the Soundwave that had a working micro SD card that you could put into it. He transformed and he was a working MP3 player.
I think I remember that. How much did it look like G1 Soundwave? Was it?
It looks exactly like G1 Soundwave, and actually I have two of them now because my original one broke and I was
Okay.
devastated. So then when I was an adult, I bought a second one.
Mhm.
But yeah, I am a Soundwave girl.
Do you
I
ever
love that
lose it?
box.
Do you ever use it to jam out?
No, mostly because I
It's
don't
a
own a micro
jam
SD
out.
card anymore.
Right.
I did used to like clip it to my jeans and wear it around school though, like a real
Nice.
cool kid.
How did you have friends in high school?
How did you think I was popular and cool?
You were her friend in high school.
If Haley had seen Bono's hip
Soundwave?
Soundwave MP3 player,
Dude,
MP3
she-
players.
I-
know.
I can't complain. You guys had brought briefcases out to recess, so
It's
what
true.
can I even like?
that's pretty cringe. Haley, what about you? What was your first Transformer?
This is Beachcomber,
Hey.
Damn.
and Bono bought him for me for my birthday one year.
Aw,
You did.
Is that the
And-
one?
So, well, I also have the gold one.
that's
I have
awesome.
I have two Beachcombers. I have in gold and in not
That's
gold.
awesome.
Are those the same
The
mold?
gold one is the one I take shots out of.
Yeah, I've seen that. I wonder
Mhm.
how is that on the paint?
Well, okay, so his back like chassis, which is where I do it out of, isn't painted. That's just like
Orange plastic.
the color of the plastic is
Yeah.
just yellow there. The seat part of him is just yellow where the outside is gold.
Okay.
So it doesn't scratch the paint because it doesn't touch the paint.
Dude, it doesn't matter. You're,
Yeah.
the act of doing the fact that you're doing a shot
Yeah.
out of a beachcomber, that supersedes, in my opinion, any kind of wear and tear
I
that
was
you
just
put on the
concerned
toy.
about her personal welfare. We don't like
You
drinking,
you only-
drinking
right.
dissolved
You only
whatever
care
gold
about-
chemical.
You only care about that toy.
no, that's
You're
not
like,
that's not true. Don't listen.
is
to
that
him.
toy okay? Is it all right?
Yeah, the
I'm telling
the
you,
toy's fine.
the amount
Okay,
of like
good.
lead-based paint Haley and I probably ingested while working paint shop for several years, this is no concern.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked about first toy. Favorite Transformers.
Is it Shockwave?
Okay, so despite what everyone may think about me, it is actually Soundwave and Tarn, which I've discovered is apparently just a theme of I don't want to see their faces and I want it to be
Yeah.
music themed.
There's a little mystery there.
Can't explain that one.
I
It's
like-
not Starscream, despite what everyone thinks. I
I-
love him, but he's not my favorite.
I for some reason I like the Transformers where you can't see their face.
Yeah, I was like, just cover that up.
I like
didn't
it.
come here for humor.
Yeah.
Well, you can see Shockwave's
Bag-
face. It's
bag-
just not interesting.
Well,
it's just a dot.
It's a
Whoa,
which-
whoa.
yeah. yeah. Dude,
Oh, I feel like we might have a
Hey.
stand in the house.
What do you-
It's like,
what do
I
you-
gotta go.
yeah. I just took great offense to that myself.
Haley,
Well,
I feel
just-
like you're
just-
a lover of the waves of shock.
Just a dot. Fuck you.
Yeah, so So when I was younger, I think my favorites were Sideswipe and Blaster, and I still love both of them dearly. But for some reason, when we got back into Transformers, just Shockwave just became my favorite. And I'd always liked him, but I was like, nah, I kind of like this completely crazy. Like, for the most part, I don't think he even cares who wins the war as long as he can do his weird experiments.
Mm-hmm.
And I can kind of get behind that.
Yeah. Yes.
Worrisome.
Worrisome.
You like a character you can dunk on, and he is pretty dunkable.
I mean,
Man,
people are in and out of that space
For a
bridge
phone call.
like it's Union Station.
Yeah. He's
His G1 cartoon persona is the most inept.
Yeah, he's quite effective in the books, but then on the cartoon, he's just like, Megatron, what happened?
What happened to us?
What would your favorite Transformers media or aesthetic be? What G1 cartoon IDW? Like, what is it that you guys like?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the newer IDW stuff. I like Transformers Prime. It's just delightful to look at.
Wait,
It
when
is
you
eye
say
candy.
newer IDW stuff, you mean
No, I'm sorry.
Pre
The
original
Lost
IDW
Light.
stuff.
There we go. Lost
Okay,
Light.
okay,
There-
all right.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I just want to be clear here, not IDW2.
Not IDW too.
End
Like,
of IDW1.
I haven't read any IDW2, but some people really seem to like it.
it just has not caught me.
It
Okay.
has so many cool concepts, and I was buying it every day for a while. But there's so many things in there where you're like, oh man, this is so cool that they thought to do this. Like Cyclonus sees dead people, awesome. Prowl has a pet dragon, I can get behind that. And then it
That is
just
true.
crawls at such a slow pace, and they gave no one any personality. Like, you could take
it's
any
flat.
line out of context and you could not place it to what Transformer said it at all.
Yeah.
Like, there was no, like, people didn't talk certain ways, no one ever cracked jokes.
Sure.
It sounds
so
almost
nothing-
like a Transformers soap opera, like, because everything, like the particular part you said where everything crawls at a slow pace, like watching soap operas, stuff takes place over a week that happens in like an
Right,
hour in the
with,
show.
But with soap operas, the emotions are peaked
It's
out.
true.
They can take.
Well,
They can
Well,
take.
also,
Yeah. Well, this
it's just
sounds like
I
it's
think we'll
flat.
Go back and rehash the beginning of this war again.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
again.
Right. Is this not covered? It seems like slow plus character development can be
Yeah.
good, but slow with no character
with-
development is just like, what the
flat.
fuck are we doing
Yeah.
here?
So no
Yeah.
character development, and it starts pre the war you know is coming. And I'm like, oh god, not this again.
Oh.
Yeah, and there was supposed to be a big reveal when they showed the Decepticon logo for the first time, and it's like,
You're like-
well, I've been waiting for you to do this for like at least 12 issues.
And
at
we
this
know what it
point.
looks like also.
I've seen it before.
Let's get into a game.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's got a
game.
visual game.
Yeah, I've got a visual game.
Our listeners love visual games.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good for an audio medium.
I was gonna say
Fuck those
Every
assholes. All right, well, here's the deal. We all know that nerd shit is basically pop culture nowadays. I did a little research. 130,000 people at the last San Diego Comic-Con.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
That's too many people.
$19 million in revenue. Celebrities of all ilk are cashing in on the comic fantasy genre. So we're going to play a game. We're going to look at some celebrity cosplay and see if you can figure out who these people are.
Oh, God.
These were people
it's
at
someone from Warcraft. Thanks for the helpful banner in the background.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit unfair. Do you know who? Can you tell who the celebrity is?
I know who that is.
Of
Both
course.
of you do seem to know celebrities in the first place. I live under a rock.
Ryan?
Yeah, I cannot tell who that is.
All right,
Yeah, it's
Ryan,
just-
who is it?
It's Jamie Lee Curtis.
It is
Curtis.
Jamie
What the-
Lee
Oh!
Curtis, dressed up as an
Oh my
orc for the Warcraft premiere. Obviously,
Oh my
from such
God.
movies such as Halloween, Knives Out, Trading Places. She is a legit fan of World of Warcraft. She plays
Really?
it. She's the real deal.
Can you go back to the image real quick?
Okay.
That's a nice costume. Would you say that's a nice costume?
Yeah.
Judge the costume.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna judge the costume. Body paint is horrifying. It's every
Yeah.
time someone does it, I'm like,
Yeah,
good for you. You're a stronger man than me.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and I
tough.
love the prop.
Dr. Octopus and a cute little
Octagon.
spot or
What?
No, it's Dr. Octopus.
Oh, okay.
Doc Ock, if you will, and a cute little Dr. Octagon.
That's a wrestler or something.
I think there's a rapper called Dr. Octagon.
Oh, that's right.
Uh,
yeah, that's me. That's Caleb.
Caleb is
doing this
Dr.
thing,
Octagon.
yeah.
Do you guys know who is this
I not only
celebrity?
know who this is, I know who made this costume.
What?
Wow.
Get out of here. Who is it?
That is Patton Oswalt and Adam Savage
Boom.
made that costume.
Who did?
Adam Savage of the Mythbusters.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Be damned.
Very nice.
Ah,
You win this round.
Ada, yeah, actually, I wasn't. Yeah, we're not keeping track. Is there a prize we should give them for this?
Nope.
There's no
King of Queens, of course. Several other movies. A great comedian
You
extraordinaire.
were with King of Queens for the
Yeah,
reference
that's-
for
I mean,
Patton
I
Oswalt?
like his comedy better than the show King of Queens. But all right, we're moving on. This is Moira from the famous Schitt's Creek episode where David and Patrick finally get married. An amazing outfit indeed. Who is pulling this off?
Have
you,
you
you got it?
Do you guys watch this program?
have you guys seen Schitt's Creek?
No.
All right.
I've seen Schitt's Creek is the problem.
What's her name? I don't even remember her name.
Well, the actress
The
that
actress.
plays her is Catherine O'Hara, but this is not Catherine O'Hara because this is cosplay
oh, this is someone portraying Catherine O'Hara's character
Yeah.
from an episode
from an episode of Schitt's
of
Creek.
Schitt's
Yeah.
Creek.
And so who? I don't know who that.
The answer is Kelly Ripa,
Oh.
Oh.
What?
Uh,
famous
Would not have guessed that.
from Regis and Kelly, and I guess Ryan Seacrest and Kelly.
Fascinating.
So- hey, speaking of Schitt's Creek, who is making this half-assed attempt at David Rose,
I
one of
feel
the most
like
popular characters from Schitt's Creek?
You've just been watching too much Schitt's Creek.
My family has been watching
love
a
this
lot
show.
of Schitt's Creek.
it's a good show.
It's a good show.
It is.
It's a good show. I
It
love it.
is, but like his Christmas card was Schitt's Creek themed. This is heavily.
That's their direction. That's not my direction. Who is this?
Is this Ryan Seacrest?
Ryan Seacrest. Yeah, so I'm assuming.
Nice picture you chose.
I
Oh my
did that on
God, it's the
purpose.
worst possible picture, Ryan
I
Seacrest.
actually was. I started this off. I was wanting to find the worst picture of all these celebrities possible, and that got. It was harder than you'd think.
I feel like you were angry when
So I
you
think
made this game.
I think they're in a show together, and I feel like Kelly Ripa went all out, and he just.
kind of threw it together.
Yeah. Corpse Bride.
Interesting.
Oh, I know
A
this
Tim
one.
Burton movie I've never seen. However,
It's
I
a
know
good
this
one.
character was portrayed by Helena Bonham Carter, or voiced rather. But what celebrity is playing her?
It's Halsey.
Oh my gosh. Former friends with benefits of Machine Gun Kelly. But most importantly, a pop singer, songwriter in her own right. Yes, you got
Halsey.
that correct. How'd you know that?
Because they're younger
Because
than
I
us.
followed her Instagram.
Yeah,
Okay.
They're younger than us. They're old Zoomers. They know that kind of
That's
stuff.
right. The Nutty Professor, originally played by the legend Eddie Murphy, who has filled his shoes in this rendition.
I got nothing.
That's a
I got
tough
nothing either.
It's the weekend, guys. Come on.
Holy shit.
one. He always why? So what is his deal with looking beat up?
He's an artist, Caleb.
Oh, okay.
How many are there of these?
Does he really get beat up, or does he use makeup?
Oh, I know this one.
Nicki Minaj, the lead Barbie herself. Who is pulling this off?
Wow.
Is this Lil Nas X?
Little not. You guys are getting good at this
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Doing a great.
I follow him on Twitter.
We have a set of Power Rangers, but one of these Power Rangers in particular is, I think the red one is famous. Just a few
Well,
more,
you covered
Ryan.
their entire face, so
Yeah.
I
The
don't know,
answer
but
is
the
Kendall
looks give me
Jenner.
Ugh.
yeah.
Kendall
I was about
Jenner.
to say the looks give me Kardashian vibes.
Yeah, totally.
Well, see, okay, here's the thing, though. I was like, I can't tell if it's a Kardashian or a knockoff Kardashian.
Right.
Is that a great value Kardashian?
That's that. What's
Literally, is that a Market Pantry Kardashian?
I mean, I
don't
do
know.
feel like Kendall Jenner is herself a cosplay of Kim Kardashian. Here we have two twin socialites who had to deal with not just Bob Saget, but also Dave Coulier. We have the Olsen twins, who are playing the legendary Olsen twins.
wow? Who is that?
No idea.
Got nothing. But also, where did you find this image? I can see every single pixel in it.
Yeah, some are better resolution than others. Listen, we don't have to criticize that. The answer is Neil Patrick Harris and his husband, David Burtka, who I'm not familiar with, but
What the hell? What is this for? Like, why would you do this?
They love
Oh,
costumes.
they do the best costumes.
Yeah,
Really?
they're Halloween. Like
They're magic people and costume people.
We have some magic talk later in the episode.
their Halloween
actually,
like,
in
their-
script deviations.
Their Halloween pics with their kids are really fun to when it comes around to Halloween time.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
they go all in.
Cool.
They're in the spirit.
I
good
like the
people.
tuxes.
Okay, what
It's-
celebrity is wearing this? Did you guys like Breaking Bad?
Yes, I did.
What
No.
I'm terrified by this image.
what
though.
celebrity is wearing this rubber-faced rendition of underground pharmacist Walter White?
How can we ever guess who it is? Who's that weirdo behind him?
Okay,
I have a lot
we
of
got it,
questions.
Bono. We just got to make up random celebrities.
Who is that? What's going on?
I'm gonna go with Shakira. I have
Yeah.
Shakira on.
I like that.
All right, the answer is Bryan Cranston.
Jesus Christ.
What a joker.
Well, he was himself.
That's terrifying.
That's disturbing. All of this.
All right, last
Oh my
one.
It
La-
looks
la-
like-
Thank you. I hate
th-
it.
this is-
I do too.
this is the most important one. What famous feline is my cat imitating?
That's your cat, right, Aaron?
That's my cat.
That's
Cosplay.
fluffy.
It's a little bit of a change in gears of how the rules of this game work.
Undeniably is cosplaying Miss Becco, my fat cat.
He's cosplaying as Echo. Very good.
Yay!
Cats.
Okay. One more obligatory shot of my two cats together. Which, by the way, Ryan is the reason these cats are alive and
Yes.
exist in my house.
They are brother and sister, and they were a litter of 5 from a neighborhood cat that I decided to take. I took in, and she actually brought her. I started feeding her, which is the problem. But then she brought her kittens into my garage, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we have all these kittens now. So I took them down in the basement, and so I've literally known these cats since the day they were born. And yeah, Melody adopted this brother and sister.
And
Aw.
this is
Wow.
them all the time. They are
It's how I got my-
very
I only
bonded.
wish that our listeners could see this now.
It's the same way I got my current cat, Zodiac. I got her because she was she was like a neighborhood cat for a year. Clearly had been somebody's pet that I don't even want to think about how she got dumped or what, but she kept trying to come inside and she slept in my garage, and eventually when it started to get cold, I'm like, well, I guess I have a cat now.
He's a soft
Yes.
touch.
Yes.
No, yeah, there have been several times I'm flicking through Twitter and I see pictures of Echo, and I'm like, that looks exactly like my cat. Especially, I mean, there's some where they're more gray, silverish shots.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm guessing that there's Mancoon vibes going on in.
Yeah, I think she's Mancoon, maybe some Norwegian forest, because they have a very distinctive meow that she has. That's this very high pitched, very baby sounding.
Yeah.
Well,
So
My cat always sounds like she's asking a question when she meows. It's very ow. Anyway, this is
Our cat's
this is quality content.
So what are we?
Or
So
podcast.
The Autopod Decepticast cast.
the-
Autopod Decepticast.
Decepticast.
Yeah.
Haley, have you changed locations?
I did. I wanted to be in front of the picture Ryan did.
Oh, that's awesome. That was fun.
Now I look like I like you guys.
Any shilling on our part is great. Please continue to do so. And are those two OG covers of the inspiration for that drawing?
Yes. So I really wanted a copy of it, so I found it online, and it's a really bad copy, but it was $13. And then I went to a comic book store in Chicago a year ago. I think it was when I was in town for Christmas, not the Christmas that just happened, but the pre-Rona Christmas. And at the comic book shop, in their $2 bin, I was going through it and I found this one, and I was like, "That's unreal." So
Wow.
I bought it for $2.
Is it a
And so
lot
now I
better
have-
quality
like
than the
both
one you
of
paid 13 for?
Yeah, sadly enough, it is better quality than what I spent $13 on. Neither of them are good quality. Someone who actually collects comics would probably be like, "Yeah, these aren't worth anything."
This
but
is
they're
a
worth a lot
D
to me.
grade.
I have a copy of that I got a long time ago, and I feel like I paid $5 for it, and it's in pretty good condition. So I'm like, I got pretty lucky on that.
I feel like old Transformer comics actually you can't get that much money out of it.
I follow. There's a Texas-based auction house in Dallas called Heritage Auctions. They're always selling Transformers comics, and there's a Transformers the movie #1 comic out there right now, listed on auction for $30, and it's
Oh my god. I was so mad. A comic book store I went to in Austin had every issue of the Transformers the movie comics. And I was like, oh my god, I should buy these. And then I was like, well, maybe not today because I'm picking up a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I went back there like a week later because I was like, no, I should have bought it, and they were gone.
Oof.
So we're going to get to today's episode, The Golden Lagoon, as visualized for your eyeballs by the Toei Company and written by Dennis Marks. So I'm going to actually do a screen share.
Did you want to
here.
get a cocktail? You want me to make a...
Oh, we totally skipped all over that.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, you'll edit this back into its proper place.
That's
what's
always so fun when he does that.
What's our
Like,
cocktail of the week?
Right, Ryan, what do you have for us?
Caleb, I'm glad you asked.
Uh,
In accordance with the theme of this episode, today's drink is the Gold Rush Cocktail. This is a fairly new recipe, actually created at the famed New York City Milk and Honey Bar in the early 2000s. And it's that classic, like, three ingredient pre-prohibition style. For this one, it's 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of bourbon. We used 4 roses that Caleb's aunt left at his house. 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of honey syrup, which is just a 1-to-1 honey to water. You heat it up on the stove. That's it. Then you store it in the fridge. And 3/4 ounce or 22 milliliters of fresh lemon juice. Shake over ice and strain over a large cube in a double rocks glass.
So you made the honey syrup.
Yes.
You did a little boiling activity.
Yep, I
Okay,
make
cool.
I make all the simple
What's the,
syrup and the honey syrup.
What's the froth on the top? You see, there's a froth.
I think it's just from the honey
Interesting.
because it's a shake and drink. Yeah.
Okay.
It says to garnish with a lemon peel, and I didn't use this because I kind of find it superfluous, and it's definitely not because I juiced all my lemons and forgot to peel them before I
No,
I
it's
made this drink.
purely superfluous. You.
It's yeah. It's
Opposite.
too much citrus up front, and it doesn't. It's not cohesive.
It's a delicious drink here. Cheers.
So this is cheers. This is delicious, Ryan.
Thank you.
I say that
Here.
to I'll say that to any alcoholic beverage that anybody hands me.
Caleb has the best tasting notes. He's like, I like this.
It tastes alcoholic.
It tastes
Yeah,
like
I don't think
alcohol.
there's a bad way to drink bourbon.
That is your favorite spirit. Is that not
That's really
correct,
good.
Haley?
Just whiskey in general. It doesn't have to be bourbon.
Yeah. Do
what
you
about
like?
Scotch whiskey?
Yeah,
Don't get Caleb going.
I'm a Scotch guy. Do you like Scotch?
It's not my favorite.
she
It's
likes
okay.
an American whiskey.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Whiskey good. Whiskey good.
Irish whiskey good.
Irish whiskey good.
Whiskey
Irish
we should get a
whiskey
picture
good.
with holding it up, like,
Irish whiskey good.
is Four Roses a bourbon proper, or is it an American whiskey blend?
it's a bourbon.
Okay, so
It's a
I'm
good-
shocked that lemon goes so well with that. It's really good.
Oh yeah, I mean whiskey sour. Like
Yeah.
I guess, but that's kind of like a trashy drink.
it is not. You're drinking them wrong.
Well, this is a good version of that.
It's
is what
not
I'm
a
saying.
sour. It's not. This is kind of a sour. It is kind of a sour. I like my sours with an egg yolk to put a good head on it. But like this is basically, it is a version of a whiskey sour.
We used to work at the country club, and we had a shit bartender. He's probably dead, and he's just using whiskey and whatever bullshit sour mix and dumping them together and putting a maraschino on top and sending it out. So that's my baseline.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's a trash drink.
I've been watching a ton of how to drink on YouTube. If you guys like cocktails, I recommend watching How to Drink. It's fantastic. But I've been super getting into making cocktails and stuff, especially since I do them for every episode. And but yeah, I have developed an obscene amount of knowledge on like pre-prohibition cocktails, and I have some stupid barware that I got myself for over Christmas, and it's just become it's whenever there's something you love, like being drunk. You never work a day in your life if that's your job.
Yeah.
It reminds me when Haley basically made a signature drink for each one of us.
She did for our 100th episode.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I did do that a year ago.
It
Yeah.
feels
2 years ago, before the war.
before the
Yeah.
war.
I don't know.
There is a war happening. All right,
I
let's
think-
not talk about that.
Yeah. So Haley, that was a very generous and sweet thing that you did.
That was
So,
that was like really pretty early on, and whenever we started like talking to
yeah,
you and
it's
everything.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, It's especially funny that Caleb was the one to bring it up and to thank me because I did just assign him to a normal beer.
That's fine though. No, it was very apropos.
He's
Thank
just
you
a
so much.
solid go to
Joe Six Pack, Johnny on the spot.
If it's got a neck, I'll drink it.
We open up with the episode, a fresh-faced set of Season 2 Samaritans are walking on some unknown beach with some cliffs in the background.
This is a
a
real,
beautiful
like,
blue sky.
C Squad that we've put together here.
They're all that's new Season 2 people, Ryan. You got Johnny Turrets, you got Jackie Gleason, you got Aquaman, Tommy Chong, and Perceptor all together.
Look, I'm just proud of Perceptor. He has friends now.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that they're all genuinely like beach themed, and then they're like, yeah, and then we brought our microscope.
Yes.
Warpath is beach themed?
Yeah, that's our war tank or our
My
Our
beach
beach
tank.
tank.
Yeah,
Our
my
beach
beach tank.
Yeah.
You got to invade Normandy somehow.
Yeah, it's got like a parrot on its shoulder and it's holding a margarita.
Wham! Kablowie! They come across a boulder that happens to have traces of silver and gold. You guys remember that song?
Yeah, I guess.
Keep moving,
Seriously,
keep
though,
moving.
what the fuck are these guys doing on the beach here?
I was going to say, how much of the Decepticon time is spent just following Autobots around? Also, okay, so right here, Blitz. Why does Blitzwing make it sound like a question when he says transform and attack? He says it like transform and attack, maybe.
Because Blitzwing's never been in charge before. He's still not sure if it's right.
Yeah.
Good.
As
It's like,
Rag,
oh man, someone left me alone with Dirge and Thrust. Does that mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Am I in charge?
no, seriously, to that point, as ragtag as this group of Autobots is, it is even a more random group of Decepticons.
Yeah.
Which, what is it? Blitzwing, Ramjet, and Thrust. So two cone heads
And then a triple changer.
and a triple changer, which they all have jet modes. So I guess they have that going on. So they transform and attack. It's an amazing battle sequence right
Yeah.
off the bat.
I do like, and this is one thing this episode does really well, is action. Like, it starts off with a fight that's really cool. I really enjoy this.
There's lots of air to ground action. My favorite moment is when Ramjet, it's bearing down heavily on Sea Spray, who is in the ocean, and it appears like he's going to kamikaze him, but then Sea Spray just kind of backs up a little bit. And then Ramjet just splashes into the water.
See, I like the point where Blitzwing just decides to try to transform into a tank and
Oh.
fall on top of Warpath.
That's amazing. Yeah, this hot tank on tank action we get where they call each other out. Blitzwing is like Warpath.
Yeah, do they have some secret rivalry that we just we don't get the
I like to think,
backstory on?
yeah, there it is.
Blitzwing's trademark move of turn into a tank 20 feet above ground. Really effective.
Oh, right here, Aaron. This is so we see Perceptor here on the beach, and this is the first time, and maybe I don't know if I'm right, but the only time we see him firing out of his microscope column. He does that a couple of
His
times.
microscope bazooka.
Yeah, he shoots out of it. That's maybe I'm remembering this because in the movie, the first time we see Perceptor, he's like focuses, he transforms. You mentioned, Aaron, during our review that he's using his microscope in the exact opposite way to
Right.
focus in on the Decepticons that are
Yes.
attacking Autobot City, using it as a telescope. But maybe that's why I thought every time I see it, I feel like he's going to shoot at the Decepticons, but he just zooms in on them and then transforms. Maybe it's from
I
this
think
episode.
that it's a little bit dangerous to have a microscope where if you hit the wrong button, you're accidentally going to just torch whatever you're looking at.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, for real. Perceptor's scope has the amazing ability to
Do whatever you want it to
whatever
do.
you want it to do.
at any given time.
You know.
Beachcomber.
I love this
You
guy.
Mean, you mean Bing Crosby?
He is in derelict of duty because
Yes.
at some point during this battle, he snuck off through a cave tunnel to emerge into some Eden-like utopia.
Yes.
And
I love this part so
he
much.
spreads the vine. Ryan is I mean, to his credit, it's not like I hate animals or want to see animals abused. But
You're constantly sending me pictures of roadkill. I don't know. That's a
not-
joke. That's not true.
that's not. But Ryan is more than anybody I know very sensitive when it comes to
Animals.
Yeah. So is
Yeah.
that? Do you think that plays into?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I have that note later too. But yeah, this is very touching to me. And so, Bono, is this where you got the idea that maybe?
Disney princess moment.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
The birds. Where's the song about how he wants more from life? All the
Right.
forest creatures come to him.
Right.
Like,
He's Snow White. Is what he
Yes,
is.
yeah.
Yes.
Or
Well,
Mary
he's-
Poppins?
He's every Disney princess. He just walks in and
Yes.
immediately becomes friends with a bird. The first thing he says is like, "Oh, how do I speak your language?" And
Mm-hmm.
then he asks them how to say "It's a beautiful day." Like this is a Disney
Yeah.
princess.
Yes,
Also,
he
though,
is.
it does seem like he mistranslates and offends the bird.
He's trying.
So he's not a good Disney princess, but he's one of them.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah, but well, I mean, just because he misgenders the bird doesn't mean that he's willing to learn. He's open.
Did I
to-
say something? I'm doing just Sugar Bear.
Well, he's trying to. He's trying to figure it out.
It is interesting that they're really pulling heavy on him to be like a Bing Crosby type.
He does speak that way,
voice.
like, hey,
So it's like a Disney princess.
who beats his family?
Oh, I wasn't gonna go there, but
I never got the Bing Crosby connection. I
He even
always
goes-
thought he was more of like a hippie, laid
Now-
back.
No, he goes
uh,
like he even goes like ba 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 ba.
Yeah, he does.
Like ba 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 boom ba 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 boom. He's in some kind of interesting place.
a
where-
lush green forest.
Yes.
There's foxes, armadillos,
Oh,
all the goddamn
it's so adorable.
characters of nature are here, and he's like, again, you guys already said it, he's a mechanical Mary Poppins, but then Beachcomber discovers a reservoir of golden liquid. No, this isn't Ryan's bathtub, it's a pond of electrum.
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 You're too proud of yourself for
I
that
know.
dig on me that you
I
mispronounced.
know I fucked myself over there.
So, okay, here's my note on that. Is it possible this story was pitched by the animation studio where they're like, what if we just color them all the same?
Oh, absolutely. This is later when all the Decepticons show up. It's literally the like how few character models can we use?
Mhm.
What and still have
Yeah, it is funny to hear Starscream talk, and then you're like, but that's Starscream, right?
yeah.
Well, he does tell you every time that he is Starscream. He just starts announcing himself, so you know.
It's really more about Thundercracker and Skywarp, how you're like, I can't quite, nobody really knows their voices apart.
Man, I have a hard enough time telling them apart whenever they're colored. Like, I am constantly mixing them up. Well, I say this all the time, but Thundercracker and Skywarp, the problem is that to me, Thundercracker sounds like a purple word. So I always want Thundercracker to be purple. And Skywarp sounds like a blue word.
No,
You're gonna have to run that by me one more time.
I feel like maybe I have some form of
Say it
poly-
again,
No,
Ryan.
no, no,
Say it again, Ryan,
know what
and
you're
let them
saying.
respond to this.
Sounds like a purple word.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I have some form of polyphagia or something because
Yeah.
Yeah,
to me,
I just fundamentally disagree. I don't think it sounds purple. I
No.
think Fireworks sounds purpler.
really,
will-
I
I will
agree.
say
And
this.
Thundercracker sounds bluer.
really quick. I think I have polyphagia, or I thought I had polyphagia because I think that certain numbers are associated with certain colors, but I think that it may be associated with because of playing pool, and certain numbers on pool balls have certain colors assigned to them.
Whoa, that's
I just have to
very
look up.
complicated.
I'm
But
looking
yeah.
up polyphagia because I don't know what the fuck you guys are
Polyphagia is
talking
when
about.
you have certain like numbers or letters or certain words that you hear and you associate them with certain colors.
It's a blending of
Right.
the senses, essentially.
And I
So
will,
is it sort of a different version of
But there's
whenever
but there's
musician
commonalities.
types talk about how they hear sound in colors kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is that
Yep.
called? There's a word for that.
polyphagia.
No, that's not. No, there's
Yeah.
a different one for the musical side of it. Okay, anyway. All right, you freaks.
Sorry, yeah, I
Anyway,
I
think
agree
you
with
should get
Ryan.
more emotionally attached to all the Seekers, and then you won't confuse them anymore.
I have a problem with the cone heads. I can't tell them apart.
I can
either,
only
but-
because I had dirge as a kid, but again,
So you've got 1/3 out of
well,
them.
let's do this again because Ramjet is the white one, but Ramjet sounds like a red word to me.
It does. It does.
It does.
It does.
Yeah, but like dirge is like a goth emo word.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Seekers is that the original Seekers, they're nonsense words. They're made up words. And the other 3 Seekers are real words. Like dirge is dirge, thrust, and ramjet. They're all real words.
Ryan?
We could dedicate an episode to the psychology behind this.
So this is now...
and we should.
So this has now become the...
And we are, I think, right now.
So,
It's right now.
yeah.
So we're in the
Wow.
Golden Lagoon.
Far out, man.
And
Oh, I did want to say Electrum is a real thing.
Electrum is
actually,
a real
yeah,
thing.
get into that. I think I read that, but I didn't dig into it.
Okay.
Is it in pond? Does it exist in ponds? Around,
Not as liquid. That's the weird part. So if you remember, whenever Perceptor was really cool, really into that rock, he zoomed in on it. What he's seeing is Electrum.
Okay.
It's a mixture of gold and silver and sometimes copper.
Mhm.
But it's been around it's been known for thousands of years. It's a naturally occurring thing. The name is a Latinized form of the Greek word electron, and that's where we get the word electron and electricity.
Far
So
out, man.
That's a pretty cool little thing they did in the beginning. That gives actually a lot of credit to that moment.
Yeah,
It seems meaningless.
Yeah.
It's true. Although my question is, why did you make it a pool of liquid gold?
Why not? Because that way, they made it a pool so that Starscream could hold his nose and jump into it.
Oh,
You're getting way ahead of us. Kid.
but I guess my question is,
I mean, otherwise, it's like how it'd be really boring if it wasn't a pool that they could
No,
all be like
that's not
party and jump into.
that's not my problem. My problem is you have Electrum, which is a real thing. It's a
Uh-huh.
crystallized thing, but they're calling a pool of liquid gold Electrum. Why not
Yeah.
just make up a word for it?
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm cool. Jump into it, man.
And I always thought this episode was gonna be like a story on like the woes of pollution or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like it's setting up to be like, oh, this, and then it just zags on that so hard.
They tag on some ecological stuff at the end.
I do feel like that is
At the very end, you're left with. Well, we don't want to. We're jumping ahead.
I
Of
feel like you see it throughout the episode.
There are little hints,
like
yeah.
when there's wars, you see the animals cowering.
It's like, I didn't think it was a real thing. It's I was like, yeah, it seems like it's like someone dumped this here. How did this toxic waste get here? But no.
Yeah, hey, guess what? That's a better story. That's a better story point.
I think that the pool of Electrum represents like the sanctity of a pristine environment unaffected by the encroachment of technology and humanity.
So
Damn.
counterpoint to that,
Yeah.
are the animals drinking the electron?
I thought of that too.
I
I would like to see some golden rabbits and birds
would like
flying
some
around.
bunnies, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would just like them to weaponize the wildlife a little.
yes, yes. Let's do that. Let's do that. I
I think a twist could have been Beachcomber rallies the animals that we know he can speak to
Right.
fight the
Oh,
Decepticons.
Oh, it's like when that episode where Grimlock can talk to real dinosaurs for some stupid fucking
I
reason.
don't know why you hate that so much.
It's
but,
stupid.
Okay. But
Yeah, he hated that so much, but he loves Beachcomber talking to birds.
well, I mean,
That
we're,
makes sense.
we're gonna get
Why
to
does that make sense and the other doesn't?
we're gonna get to this, but but the Golden Lagoon is a symbol of like an environment that is unaffected by encroachment, and even the Autobots are not innocent from encroaching on them.
Spoiler alert.
Wait for it.
And poor Beachcomber, man. Poor Beach.
Also, the Beachcomber's not necessarily. We're skipping all around, but not necessarily a good dude. First of all, he is AWOL while his friends are getting shot at.
Yeah, that's actually, he would be put in prison.
He's a free spirit.
Second of all, whenever it becomes clear, again, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but when it becomes definitely clear what has happened, he does not tell anyone.
I would like to think that Beachcomber is like disowns being an Autobot and becomes his own
Like a Ronin.
a Ronin in and of itself,
Beach Ronin.
like an Envirobot. Like he has his own.
He's gonna
Third faction.
Yes.
He's gonna like set up blockades in front of oil frigates in the
Yeah,
ocean.
he's like a
and
Greenpeace.
Yeah.
tie himself to a General Sherman.
What?
the
That is
trees.
pretty similar to what happens to Thundercracker in the comics.
Yes.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry.
Well,
But
I think we're all behind ourselves, actually. We saw this pond of Electrum, but it shifts back to the battle.
Mm-hmm.
We remember that Ramjet dove into the ocean, and he's now getting his comeuppance from his embarrassment earlier. Unless this is his plan the whole time, to dive down and then
I meant to do
come
that.
up from underneath him. But he comes up, knocks Sea Spray to the side, and then you've got Warpath and Blitzwing. They're recovering from the past skirmish and just firing.
Just shooting at each other, just sitting there shooting at each other.
Yeah, this other Conehead and Power Glide are firing at each other, creating an avalanche of sorts, and then we transition back to the lagoon. Mind you, I don't think we mentioned it earlier. Beachcomber, he dipped his hand into the lagoon, so
Yeah.
his hand is the one golden thing about him. Go ahead, Ryan.
I just don't know. It doesn't mean, like, it never is important. He
No.
did his hand. in
Nobody
it.
comments on it
No.
or anything.
you would think that at some point, like the Decepticons would shoot at him and he would block it with his hand or
Well,
something like that.
There's also the point that the Autobots don't seem to even notice the
Yeah.
Decepticons are
What's
all
up
in
with
gold.
What's up with your gold hand, Beachcomber?
That's true. That's weird. Like it's like they no one acknowledges like he's gold. He's he's impenetrable.
There's also
lasers.
a thing where his hand is gold the whole episode, but they establish that the effect of dipping into the Golden Lagoon is not.
Oh man, you
it doesn't
just
last
found
long.
you found the mistake. Yeah, that it wears off, but it's yeah.
But not if you put it on your hand.
Yeah.
It's his magic Disney princess powers manifesting.
Sure. Yeah.
Explain. Just makes sense.
He is Elsa.
Let it go.
There's
Aaron. Let it go.
Thank you.
Oh, that's coming out.
There's an avalanche
kidding.
happening. The ground is rumbling. Things are getting crazy. The animals are disturbed. Beachcomber's headed back towards the cave from which he entered. And which one is this again?
That is thrust.
Thrust. Okay. Thrust, through some of his high-flying exploration, has found the pool of Electrum. And he is very excited about it. He dips in. Let's just, I mean, he
That's basically yeah.
does a little
I
dip.
think the correct term is he thrusts himself into the pond.
Good
Guys,
job.
And unfortunately now
no. That's gross. And I don't accept it.
This shot where Thrust comes out and is like it's very cool. It's a very neat, like it's just a very cool shot of him. And I think at this point I'm so glad that Toei Animation is doing this episode, because if ACOM had been animating this, I think I'd be infuriated.
Bad angles, bad colors, bad drawings. Beachcomber is returning to the fray. He joins
Back in
Perceptor
the action.
in firing on the flying foes. He's hesitant to talk about where he's been, but honestly, there's not much time for that because Thrust is back on the scene, glistening like a pharaoh's tomb, and no amount of firepower can stop him.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
You know, I'd like to ask Hayley and Bono, like up front, just with the first few minutes of this episode, what has captured you? What captured you guys so much to watch this episode so many times?
It's just, I mean, I know it's silly saying it's just nonsensical because, like, look at the rest of G1,
Sure.
but, like, it's just so nonsensical.
So your attraction to it is the nonsensicalness.
Yeah, it's just a good time.
It
It's
is
that-
fun.
Yeah.
And you know how all high schoolers think that hippies are the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
it was just
Yeah.
you.
Were you-
I was just you, Haley.
oh.
Yeah, that was just me listening to my classic rock. Like, yeah, I just want to be like Beachcomber and, you know,
Sure.
hang out with nature and, you know, maybe find a golden lagoon that turns you invincible. The usual stuff.
Sure.
Hate
Okay.
Ashbury is radical.
So
I don't know. Is that what
I like
they
how
would say?
Ryan's trying to reach for like.
They wouldn't say
hippie.
radical.
So-
all my connections to hippies is like through the
But-
Manson family.
But you had a connection with this episode because when you were young, especially when you were younger, because of like the message that it put across from an
I
an
don't
environmental
think that's-
standpoint.
I feel like Caleb's really reaching, but
Yeah.
please
You're
answer the
making
question.
us sound like way better people than we are.
Fair enough.
Sound good. No, I mean, I think it really is that like a lot of times we would just kind of because I mean we sought it out because first of all it kind of has a hilarious name, and so I think we had the DVDs because Blockbuster went out of business and they were super cheap, so I bought them with my allowance money,
Right.
like a real adult. So we had all the DVDs, and I think it's just that like they introduced a new cast of characters, and so a lot of the episodes didn't necessarily grab us the way that like the first seasons had because we knew those characters, but this one had like great rewatch value just because there's just so much. First of all, there's so much that happens in this episode, and it's just like I don't know,
It's an
just a good time.
iconic episode. I mean,
Yeah.
people remember it. It's I think partially. I mean, there's a lot of from a marketing and just toy manufacturing standpoint, especially nowadays. There's a lot of like sell value. You can sell your golden beachcomber
Mhm.
and your normal beachcomber.
It's also super rewatchable. I would agree.
Why?
It's
I want to know why. Why? what do
well,
you
it's
think?
very action oriented. Like a lot of things happen. It looks pretty. It's like junk food.
Yeah, and the things that are funny aren't no longer funny because you've seen it once. Like sometimes Transformers relies on kind of, the novelty of you see it and then you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time you see it, you're like, not as impactful. But the things that make this one enjoyable are just as enjoyable, whether it's the first or the 30th time you're seeing it.
Right on.
Like, I mean, especially the scene that we are coming up on later is
Oh,
just
yeah.
every time you see
Sure.
it, it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
and a lot of the lines are really kind of out there and very quotable. Where like, and I don't think we've hit them yet, but like everything Mirage says in this is
Everything
super
Mirage
weird,
does is
super
Okay.
Mirage's
hilarious.
very existence in this episode
Super
is
weird.
questionable.
Wild
and-
for
well,
Mirage's character beyond this episode that are laid down here. Wild.
Okay.
the battle is happening. Which one is this again? Thrust.
Thrust.
They're going to pull out all the special abilities. Sea Spray's seashells, Perceptor's wrist rockets, some ice, some fire, courtesy of Power Glide, and nothing doing. Warpath transforms into a tank and blows a hole in the cliffs, opening way for he, Beachcomber, Power Glide. They all just ditch this scene,
Now-
leaving Perceptor and Sea Spray behind to be captured by the Decepticons.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go too far afield here. Just
Wait a minute. Hang on. I'm sorry. Before you
Yeah,
say
that-
anything.
yeah, that's what I was
This
gonna
is
talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
No, the Power Glide Soul Gem in his
Yeah.
forehead.
That's back. I missed that
Yeah.
entirely.
That. Well, okay, also we need to unpack. Yeah, Haley, mention the rockets.
Yeah. So Power Glide is definitely shooting out of his head laser, which is fine. Except they specifically say that they're doing a like fire and ice type of thing.
Yep.
Which means right now Warpath is shooting ice bullets, which is apparently something he just carries around. Uh-oh. Oh no, there's a cat on my keyboard.
Very professional, Haley.
Was that a
Sorry.
calico?
Yeah, I have 2 calico cats.
Not
I don't believe in
beautiful.
buying a cat unless they come in all 3 color options.
Right.
Because
Sure.
like why pay full amount for a cat if you're not getting all the color options?
Calicos are cool cats too, man. They're really.
They're super chill.
I don't know if I'd call them chill.
Hey,
but-
they be in that lagoon,
Hey,
baby.
man, I'm just,
They know where the off ramp to Highway 420
hey,
is.
Bubba, hey, Bubba, 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 Bubba.
They know where all the cool catnip is.
Sorry, what were you saying, Haley? We interrupted you with the cat. You're
Oh no, my cat interrupted me. I was saying that they're trying to do a fire and ice thing, which means that if Power Glide is like shooting fire at him, that means that Warpath has ice bullets that he's currently shooting.
Sure.
I guess I
thought it was the other way
Powerglide was
around.
doing it all.
Oh, but no, it's a rocket.
you're
with-
right.
Yeah, it's an ice rocket.
Yeah. What a weird ability to randomly have.
Yeah. Does it come up again? No.
Yeah.
No,
But
Did he wake up in the morning and just like, I'm going to bring the ice bullets just in case that comes up?
We're going to the beach. It's hot out. Perhaps whatever foe we face will be felled by my ice bullets.
yeah, it's like Legend of
Or
Zelda
just have
3. Where
combo
you-
attacks with other characters. It's something they practice.
Apparently, it's not a plus 12 offense. You know what I mean? Ryan.
Good, well done.
Just call Mandy. She'll understand this.
I don't want to be too pedantic here.
No,
Like
what?
I've
you
never
don't want to be.
I've never been on the show. I've never been that way on the show, but the audience demands it. And so I will just say it is, yes, if he's absorbing laser fire, that makes sense that he wouldn't move, but like explosive shells should blow him off his feet,
yeah.
which does happen later, but it's fine. I didn't want anybody to be upset that I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, are they just, what does the gold coating do?
Are you asking seriously?
That's an existential
I'm
question.
afraid to ask. I mean, answer. I mean, obviously, it deflects from any kind. They're bulletproof.
Right, but and also impact, like shockwave proof.
Yes, all of it.
I'm actually kind of fine with it. Like again, I like when things are simple, not like the episode we just reviewed and we'll have to review later, where it's like some stupid device. Like it's just Electrum makes them invulnerable. That's it.
Yep.
That's all you need to know.
Right. They're bullet.
Okay, just remember that when we get to later in this episode,
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
though, because every of them do get taken up by Beachcomber.
Okay.
That's true. Oh,
All right,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
All right, moving on.
I love the little feet.
Oh,
yeah.
The little grabbers.
He has feet come out of
Thrust
him
makes
like
little,
a bird,
like little
talons.
laser
Talons.
beak.
They're
feet.
talons. He has little
Which-
talons.
which he uses
yes, they're little talons.
to pick up Perceptor.
Perceptor and
snatch
Sea
him.
Spray.
We don't see the sea spray snatch.
I think Perceptor's holding him.
Yeah, I think this is Perceptor's fault. If Perceptor just let go,
Yeah.
Super would not be kidnapped.
Yeah.
Perceptor's like, you're with me.
Perceptor, you son of a bitch.
I do like this whole episode. How Perceptor and Sea Spray are like the most complicit prisoners that I've ever seen.
I don't know. Did you see Blaster
and
and Cosmos?
and Cosmos
earlier?
last episode.
That's true. That's true. Autobots make good prisoners.
We are going to the Decepticons underwater base, which I don't feel like we've seen in a while.
It's been a hot minute.
And Megatron thinks he's going to get secrets from his two detainees, but they aren't down to clown with all that. Ramjet makes his impregnable presence known. Megatron is very impressed, but Starscream demands a demonstration.
Starscream, is just constantly contrarian to be contrarian.
Yeah. I know some people like
Megatron
that.
is really testy in this episode, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Megatron is so mean to Starscream. Like every single line that Megatron says in this entire episode is just being mean to Starscream.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
saying he doesn't deserve it, but everyone is extra testy today.
Yeah,
I just feel like Starscream's the kind of guy you encounter in high school that wants to really tell you that the swastika was actually a Buddhist symbol.
I know you're talking about swastikas, but you just missed my.
You
There
are
it
passing a
was.
lot.
You just missed my favorite scene in the whole show, which is Starscream holding his nose when he jumps into the Golden
Jumping in.
Lagoon, which is such a yep, whoop, woo. Yeah, I love it.
That's good. This is good. This is good radio. We're just noises with the boys.
Sure, and I'm just saying it's great that Starscream tests the lagoon with his toes, and then he holds his nose and jumps.
I don't.
It's
I
pretty
don't.
cute.
Very
I don't think I
Starscream
made
thing
it
to
clear that we've returned to the lagoon in all of its warm, urine-toned splendor, and after Megatron exhibits the powers of the lagoon, Starscream jumps in. And he exhibits it by basically shooting Ramjet thrust.
Sure.
God damn it! In the chest. The Decepticons then engage in a ridiculous game.
Oh, here it is. We're getting real close to the
I think the game is called "Just Shoot Me in the Face."
Yeah.
Well, okay, Megatron does say, I'm going to enjoy this,
Yeah.
and then just shoot Starscream as Starscream says, please don't.
You
So-
know, he's hoping that something has gone wrong, and he's
Right.
finally going to deal with. He's like,
I-
please, 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 please.
I got
Please
the
don't worry.
I got the impression that he just enjoys shooting at him regardless of the
Yeah.
outcome. He just like
Oh yeah, for sure.
But-
yeah.
But I'm sorry, we do have to address the fact that when Megatron first shoots thrust, there is a beautiful sparkle sound effect that accompanies that.
God, this is great.
I did not pick that up at all.
Very important. He glitters.
He does.
That was like a Care Bears sound effect.
Care Bear stare.
Delightful. See, again, this episode, why do we love it? Because it's full of things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full of magic. It's full of magic.
Full of magic.
Yeah.
There's no one best part of this episode. It's all infallible.
I just
Infallible.
Cannot be fouled.
what is this magical land where there's all these
Earth?
The thing is, it's not
No,
really a
it's-
magical land. It's just a normal land that just happens to have a gold pond in the middle of it.
I guess, but it just there's little creatures.
I kind of like how they
everywhere.
don't address. There we go.
Yes,
Wait, go
There
back.
it is.
Gotta go back. I kind of like how they don't address how this could possibly exist at all. Like we're never treated to that.
No, we don't need to know.
I
Magic.
would totally jump into the Golden Lagoon. Would you guys?
This sounds
I
like
mean, I'd
Caleb's.
probably have to hold my nose because I'd be worried about it. But other than that, I'd jump right in.
I'm zag on that one.
Yeah.
I don't think getting encased in metal is good for people.
Yeah.
I had this joke later, but it seems reasonable to talk about it now. Whenever the Autobots get to the lagoon and jump in, spoilers, I would have loved if Spike were with them and he just immediately died.
He jumps in and dies.
Yeah.
But in true Autobot fashion, they don't really care. They're just like, oh, that's too bad.
This is the best Transformers gif that's ever existed. Is just all
I've
these.
never seen it.
Oh, it's awesome.
Really?
Well, is there
What?
a GIF?
You've never, Aaron, you've never seen this GIF before? Come on.
So
You've been.
yeah, all the Decepticons jump out of the lagoon and they're just firing wildly at each other, decimating the landscape. It's like maybe a 2-second bit, but it is so funny. Oh, okay. Right
Except
there where
for-
we cut to commercial.
Meanwhile, all the animals are just cowering.
That's
Poor
what I
little
had a note
animals.
about that. Like, yes, I have a problem where the older I get, my emotions start to get further and further to the surface, and I've always had a spot for animals. I know they're animated.
You
They're not
cry-
going to show animals getting hurt in a
You
kids
cried
show.
there. You cried there, didn't
I got a
you?
little upset. But it is but on a different note, like I have to go to doesthedogdie.com for every movie I watch because stop putting dogs in movies.
This
Even if-
is on record, Ryan.
What's doesthedogdie.com?
It's a website that tells you like if animals die in a movie, and like it's all, not only that, it's also other trigger warnings for if you have issues with things. It tells you if they're in the movie, and I have to go to it for every movie because filmmakers are lazy and they want to jerk your emotional chain by killing a cat or a dog. I hate it.
Okay. So-
Anyway, I don't know how. I'm sorry.
So it's so it's kind of like a spoiler website.
No, it just says yes or no.
Oh.
What does it say when you look up John Wick?
I'm sure it says yes. I mean, everybody knows what happens in that movie. John Wick, I watched it, but I went into it knowing what was going to happen, and it's not graphic, so. This has been a bummer. What the fuck?
Fucking
Omega Supreme is in base mode, everybody. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, that is weird. They keep going to Omega Supreme in base mode, and I guess, I'm sure it's just,
Hang out.
yeah, probably to highlight him as a
They're
toy.
just cracking some beers
Hang out,
away
boys.
from Autobot headquarters.
It does feel that way because it is like all of these, like,
Slackers.
like C Squad guys hanging out with Omega Supreme just slacking off.
Most of
And then-
the. Oh, go ahead.
Beachcomber has a great out damn spot moment, looking forlornly. Like, what is this hand scene?
Yes.
Bro, chill out.
yes.
Tell your friends about it.
He's super emo in this
Is-
episode.
I was just trying to see the time because I had a note about how Power Glide, of all people, tries to rein in Warpath's zeal for going on the mission, where he says, "Easy, kid. This is supposed to be a rescue mission, not to charge of the Light Brigade." Charge of the Light Brigade, which I thought was a weird reference.
Not one that kids would get.
One that kids would get, and also I don't think the writer understands what it is because it's about a whole squadron of light cavalry getting annihilated.
Yeah, they were martyred. I do want to acknowledge the Macbeth reference. That
I'm so sorry. I'm a theater kid at
yeah,
heart.
it's okay. I love it. Also, the Charge of the Light Brigade is an interesting one because it's like people celebrated them charging, but they were also martyred in charging.
Well,
so it's a weird one.
It was an exercise.
Martyred or massacred?
Both.
Right. Okay.
But it was an exercise that didn't have to happen. It was
No,
ignorant
it was a
leaders
mistake.
sending light cavalry against an entrenched
Yeah, it was-
artillery. It was the Crimean War.
It
This
was-
can't become a history podcast, but like,
Oh, I would like for it to be though. It was a miscommunication.
yeah.
It was stupid.
Well, then maybe his comment is perfectly apt. He's saying, let's not go into this blindly.
That's not what. In the context, he's saying this isn't supposed to be like us. Like it's not supposed to be like a big war action.
I think it works.
Well, maybe. That's
We can all say this. It was obviously a Ron Friedman addition to it, right?
I think you're probably right, but this script spoiler is not available, so we'll.
Ah,
but I bet
you
that
know.
I bet that's a Ron Friedman.
You know that
edition.
was a Friedman edition.
So Beachcomber is deep in thought. The team is assembled, and I guess Smokescreen, just adding him to the team is good enough. It's the same people plus
yeah.
Smokescreen.
And Mirage, who's a fucking.
Well, I just
Okay.
wish Mirage were here.
Go ahead, guys.
Okay, this is the actual best part. Wait, can I actually read the script?
Yes,
Because
please.
it's so
Please.
good. So he says, I wish Mirage was here. We could use him. And then Mirage says, your wish is granted. And he says, huh? And he just appears and says, I've been standing here for 10 minutes. Okay, does Mirage just sit around waiting for people to talk shit about him?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
That's
I think so.
I made a note on that. How many meetings has Mirage just hung out in waiting for someone to say, I wish Mirage was here just so he could pull this stupid gag off?
How many times has no one said anything and they all drive away and Mirage just stands there like, oh, guess I'm not coming today, guys.
And he's just like kicking some rocks.
I like the idea of an Autobots transforming and rollout scene, and the camera zooms out from above, and you see them all driving down towards their destination. But then you just see two shallow footprints in the mud of Mirage, just wishing that he'd been called upon for this duty.
Like,
You guys.
also, does this range the implication that like Mirage just hangs out around base invisible just for funsies?
Sure.
Oh yeah, he's a
Oh,
creeper.
yeah.
That's what I thought. I wrote down Mirage.
would-
Oh no, Mirage is a creep.
And okay, and also keep in mind, two of them did already drive away. He was fully not planning on coming unless someone called him out by name. He
Yes.
was like, I don't really want to go, but like if you call me out, I might.
But also, why do you wish Mirage was here?
It's
What?
it's legit just for this bit.
What?
Yeah.
What is he gonna
Just for
really
this.
do to make things that much
Guess
better
what?
for
He does
everybody?
nothing.
Wait, Aaron, whenever you're just like grocery shopping or something, do you ever just like look up and just say, I wish Ryan was here?
No one ever says that, including my girlfriend.
Oh, I love it.
Sometimes when we record, he's like, "I wish Ryan weren't here."
Sometimes I'm like, oh, is Ryan here?
Your wish is granted.
Yeah, I mean, it either insinuates that Powerglide really, really likes Mirage, they're best bros,
I like that sweet take on it.
or that Mirage has some kind of value add that's just perfect for this mission, but neither of those things are illustrated.
No.
in this.
Or that Mirage asked Powerglide to say this because people keep forgetting
Oh
to
my
bring
God.
Mirage. And Powerglide's like, oh shit, wait,
I
people
like
already leaving.
that.
Oh, I wish Mirage was here.
I like that. I
That's
like
the
that a
one.
lot. That's it.
Wait a
That's the one.
So does that mean
That's the most pathetic one of all.
is it possible that Mirage is just invisible? He lives his life invisible, and his special power is actually to
Becoming
become
visible?
visible.
I'm into that too.
But only if you say the magic words.
Right, right.
I wish Mirage were here.
So he's perpetually pushing for people to make him visible.
He's just forgotten.
Is this a Beetlejuice situation?
You have to say, I wish Mirage was here 3 times.
say my name 2 more times, Powerglide.
Flawless Mirage.
Wow.
Well,
Woo.
it is
Sad.
one of the weirdest things I've seen since we
very
started
weird.
watching.
Like
this
you guys have said,
show.
this is very. It's just there's a lot of moments where you're like, I never would have thought to do it like that.
Okay, I guess.
Unfortunately, I guess we're gonna have to move on.
Yeah. That's heavy.
Oh,
That's some heavy
Don't
shit.
worry, the other interaction with Mirage is equally as
Also
weird.
weird.
The Decepticons at this point are coated in
They are
gold
good.
chrome and
Good
are
to
ready
go.
to attack.
I
They
would.
engage immediately with the Autobots. Powerglide gets a Seeker in his sights, only to find that his lasers are inflicting no harm at all.
Did anyone else question, like, where is Prime?
I think they're better off without him.
Like, it just feels like they're it just feels like to me they're taking like they didn't go through the chain of command, and this is just like
Oh yeah,
they've decided to just do this.
very much above their pay grade. Though to be fair, at this point they do think it is like one superpowered Conehead,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, and they do bring the whole squad to handle one superpowered Conehead.
Sure.
And then they show up, and it's like Megatron and the rest of the
Yeah.
Decepticons.
Yeah.
They didn't plan on
My
that.
my theory is that they weren't actually supposed to go on a beach vacation that day, and they were like, "Oh man, I don't want to tell Optimus we were just hanging out on the beach."
We were just
Right.
They were
Like,
skipping school from the
Yeah,
beginning.
They got in over their heads really quick, but they didn't plan on it.
We got to keep
Yeah.
this on the DL,
Yeah.
bros. But who wants to come with me? Handle
Right.
this beach operation.
God, I wish we had Mirage.
I wish Mirage were here.
Mirage is here.
That's probably the name of the episode.
So first of all, we saw a little battle happen. Everybody's sort of getting the sense that this gold coating makes the Decepticons impervious. But Mirage senses that something is up at this point.
bails.
And with that, he
Easily.
turns around and heads back.
and he turns
And he goes
invisible
invisible.
again.
It's because smoke.
After all,
Go ahead.
after all of his efforts to become like noticed, he fucking turns tail.
He
And
does say the wildest thing when he leaves.
Wow. Okay.
What was it he says?
He says like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get backup," and then they're like, "Okay, see you around," and he says, "Oh no, you won't!" And
That's
he
right.
bounces.
Wow. I will never think of Mirage in the same way again.
This
Oh, man.
episode has far-reaching consequences.
Yeah.
For Mirage, is literally insane.
Oh no, you won't.
That's your Mirage.
It's
Very
pretty good. I'm pretty good at voices, guys.
Put on
Wow.
both of Caleb's masks, and then it will be perfect.
Oh, Batman! Why would you throw someone out of a plane? I don't know.
Like, he's Bane.
Bane.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this whole thing of Mirage coming along, he's just like, but maybe what if I don't?
It really feels like Mirage was added in. Like the episode had been cut
Mm-hmm.
and done, and they were like, "Who can we toss in?" And they just tossed in 3 seconds of Mirage.
Like they needed some season 1 credibility to
Yeah.
to bring this
Oh,
story,
I actually-
tie it together.
They're like, who would go tell the rest of the Autobots? And they're like, who can we add?
That's
Because he appears and then he disappears instantly.
The thing about Mirage is
That's
very easy to animate.
Which again seems to be the name of this game, where it's like, how many Seekers can we put on screen and have be the exact same color? Cool.
Yeah, that's the day where the colorist is like, oh man, I don't have to give a fuck because we're always getting flack about screwing it up. I like this part where we're right here where Smokescreen does his what his name is. His ability to make the smoke arrive before himself is quite interesting.
Yeah, they always show the smoke makers behind him, but they should be in front of him, right? Is that how that would work?
It wouldn't even work that- I mean,
no,
it
because he
would
would
never-
constantly be out driving it.
Yeah, it would never
We
work.
don't know
It's
what the wind speed is of the area he is. Could be a very windy beach.
He only
very windy beach.
beaches are windy. Is he only
They are everywhere.
is he only doing it when the wind is in his favor? Like it's if the wind
May the winds be forever in your favor.
okay.
Okay, wait. No, not to be this guy though, but if you look at the shape of the cloud, it goes bigger as it goes back.
Yeah.
So that must be where the wind is blowing it because it
Yeah, you're right.
disperses as it goes.
Yeah.
Damn you
Right.
guys and your
Yeah.
physics.
It's bad physics.
Yeah. Sorry, not to flex my STEM degree.
No, I
but-
appreciate it. Thank you. I need somebody else here to say things like that.
We're gonna go back to Omega for half a second. The whole squad of season 1ers is
Thi-
now here to
this
help
is-
reinforce.
This is the point where I'm like, oh, okay, they got their big brothers. Whereas, because like up to this point, it's all been. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
The audience doesn't like you guys. Let's bring us into the
Go
situation.
ahead, Bono.
Haley and I were watching this. We rewatched this earlier, and we were like, "Oh, look, we found the plot line." The main cast is here.
Mhm.
God.
Why is Mirage reporting to Sunstreaker?
Is Sunstreaker in kind of a leadership role?
If-
Didn't we determine that from that episode where Devastator jumped through the cave
The core.
ceilings? Yeah.
Which also, oh fuck, it just occurred to me, and I have this in our script deviations, written by the same guy.
Oh, right.
So he must love Sunstreaker.
Could you guys do me a favor and just go back and listen to that line that Sunstreaker says?
Oh, Haley,
Can you
no.
hear it?
Don't do this. Haley, don't do this.
Have any
And
effect
you
on
guys
them?
just need to listen to it real quick.
Yeah.
Don't do
Okay,
this.
Here we go. We're doing it.
Haley, don't
We're
do
recording
this.
it.
Sunstreaker, our weapons don't seem to have any effect on them.
I'll blast a few big D's for you. And
Yeah.
Haley, this is a family podcast.
Haley, don't do this.
Oh man, that's amazing.
He's got a fat one, LaChance.
Biggest one in 3 counties. Oh god.
I need you to know Haley texted that to me this morning, just that phrase, and then
Nice.
got mad when I didn't reply and called me.
She's like, that was gold, bitch.
That was good.
What do you want from me?
Are we? We're at Omega Supreme. There's
Mhm.
a whole squad of season oneers that's going to be reinforced. They're pulling out the D's, but before they can get too far, the butterscotch Decepticons take them all out right in here and now. He's no bueno.
I do. What the fuck? I do like this part where Megatron says, "Show no mercy," and Starscream says, "Do we ever?"
It's like, well, I mean, a lot of them are alive for the fact.
Yeah. I just thought it was a super fun line.
Yeah, at this point, none of them have been killed. Beachcomber is beside himself. It's not possible.
Mhm.
They find the Golden Lagoon. Everybody break down the logic there.
What do you mean?
Well, he is hypothesizing that they have found the Golden Lagoon, but he knows that they must have found the Golden Lagoon
Right.
because he fought Thrust earlier.
And they're all
And why
covered
would
in
Thrust not
gold.
go tell his
Oh, I see what you're
comrades
saying.
what's going on?
This is another instance where immediately he should have gone to Prime and tell him what's going on, but he does not.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that would be a huge advantage for the Autobots.
Exactly.
If they could get it
Also,
first.
Speaks very, very much to Beachcomber being like, I don't trust the Autobots either. They're gonna come here and ruin this place. Like,
Yeah, no,
you got some
totally.
trust issues, bud.
Yeah, no, that's the.
But
that
he
was-
knows a Decepticon has found it, and he knows like it's like it's like Democrats type of thing. Like, sorry, I'm making it political. Even though the Autobots are still gonna fuck it up, they're gonna fuck it up
In a less.
than just letting the Decepticons have it.
This feeds into the Beachcomber secret third faction thing.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Beachcomber's a leftist, anarchist.
Maybe an anarchist. Yeah.
Here we go.
It-
Leave this ahead.
I like it.
All right, well, there's a giant attack. The Decepticons are obviously kicking fucking ass.
I do like that they keep trying, though. I respect that they just keep firing. Like, maybe it'll work.
Do you? Because I had the opposite reaction. I'm like, you idiots, retreat. Maybe a tactical retreat, and because it's not working, you're being insane.
But they have Omega Supreme.
Yeah.
Sorry, hang on. I gotta. pour
Oh,
some
Aaron's got
wine
to top
before I
off his wine.
Caleb,
Do you guys want to take a
Caleb,
quick?
you want some of this?
Do you guys want to take a quick break? I have to hit the head
I just
anyway,
got
Do you,
elbowed by
is-
Ryan
what
to
do we
take
got?
a break.
What do we got?
and then we can. Is that okay with you guys?
Oh, there's Melody with dinner.
And Aaron's wife just showed up with dinner. Oh,
Hi guys.
Hi, this is my wife Melody. This is
Hello.
Bono and Haley.
You guys are gorgeous. Look at that red hair.
You're
Oh my
gorgeous.
god.
They said you're gorgeous.
Aw. I did bring dinner, but you guys don't have to stop because of dinner.
What did you bring us?
I brought a pork tenderloin, 3 burgers, fries, and onion rings. Anyway,
Can-
sorry to
can you
interrupt,
guys
guys.
go back to
Gorgeous, gorgeous ladies. See you later. Bye bye.
thank you, Melody. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary friends. Your favorite co-host, Ryan here. As you've no doubt gleaned, we had so much fun talking to our friends Bono and Haley that we had to break this one into 2 parts. Otherwise, it would have been like a 4-hour episode. But don't worry, the second part will drop February 28th, as per our usual schedule. Also, hey, happy Valentine's Day. I don't know if I've ever told this story on the air, but I met my girlfriend through Tinder, and we started texting in February of 2017. I think it was like a third or fourth exchange was my attempt at making a joke, and we all know how well text jokes go. They're always choice. And I texted saying, "Hey, hey Valentine's Day, huh? A bad holiday or the worst holiday?" And her response was, "It's just a Tuesday, my dude." So that joke did not land, and it's kind of become like a running gag at this point. In fact, I think last year her Valentine's Day card to me, the text that she wrote in it was, "It's just Tuesday, my dude," which is cute. So, hey, tune in Sunday the 28th for our part 2 of this episode. I know you've enjoyed it, and I know you'll enjoy that. I don't know why I'm pitching so hard. All right, then that's it for me now, guys. Hey, pistols at dawn. Oh,
Okay.
before the game, I have 2 questions that are real fast for Bono. Real talk, how are Olive and Echo getting along?
It's going good so far. They are sometimes I can't tell if they're playing or they are fighting, but Olive was released on the house for the first like full time last night, and no blood was drawn, so
That's
I'll
good.
take it.
In your cloned cats?
Yeah, my 2 clone cats. It's actually really funny because they will just like do things, and I'll be like, "Which one is that?" And then they get closer. Oh, Echo. Okay. So I can only imagine when Olive gets bigger that I'm actually going to be in serious trouble discerning which cat is which.
One looks way darker than the other, but I'm
So-
assuming they'll mellow out. That darkness will mellow
Yeah,
out with age.
because they're both smoke coloring, and so the top part of their fur is black, but then the root is white. So since Echo is bigger and her fur has grown out more, there's more white in proportion. And so as Olive grows and as more white becomes visible, she's gonna get lighter and lighter and lighter too. Because Echo was completely black when we first got her, and then
Isn't it also like seasonal? Like they tend to get fluffier
it is
in
seasonal,
winter.
yeah. And that's why. It's because when they don't have vitamin D deposits, the fur turns white. You end up with these wild stripy fur bands.
They're adorable. They
Echo is
look
here
like
with
my
me. She's in a
cat.
baby carriage. I don't know, right there.
Oh.
That baby carriage is near meme status. At this point,
Yeah.
I think.
Buy a baby carriage for your cats. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's normal. Makes you look sane to the neighbors.
Yeah, not judgmental about that at all. Okay, I'm gonna do a screen share. Hang on.
Bro Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes, 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 yes.